He really is just basically always top 32s every Pro Tour he plays.
At Worlds 2010, when he lost his quarterfinal, that stopped him being level 8. Had he won his quarterfinal, he would be level 8. So we are in business.
Paolo leads off with a reckless wave, which I don't know all the flip names.
Oh, don't worry. Reckless wave will turn into a merciless predator,
which attacks for 3 on turn 2.
Does indeed. You've got Eric Froehlich on the left of screen. There is Mr. Froehlich, as always, in the backwards baseball cap.
And, very happy that basketball is back. He's a huge Lakers fan. Boo. Attack, trade.
You can't really go boo at any team that has a guy called Meta World Peace in the team. Really.
So we see a very similar sequence to what we saw in the match last round, right? Like attack, trade. Oh, excellent.
Here's
Turn on my Stitch
value.
Drake, yeah. Yep.
But Fiend Hunter says go away. Possibly my favourite card in any strand.
Really? That's Marshall was just saying that when he was fantasizing about his dream sealed deck, it had, lots of Fiend Hunters.
Yeah, my good friend Ben Drago from Texas, he's got a couple of Fiend Hunters in his green and white deck today. Pretty happy about that. Double travel preparations.
Here we see
Skurzdag Cultist.
Yep. I love that card.
2/2, sacrifice a creature. Once you've activated it, deals 2 damage to target creature or player.
And there's the cultist's best friend, the Pitchburn Devils. They're just not on the same side. There you see Paulo in the Brazilian Channel Fireball shirt.
Those were great shirts. Obviously I've got a British one, but there are so many good ones. I really like the Belgian one, actually. It's a really, really lovely shirt. I imagine there aren't many of those have gone out around the world.
So we'd like a double X and a small when we place our order for the Belgian shirts.
Rain and Vincent Lemoyne? Yeah. Uh-huh. Who would wear which? So Kessig Wolf comes down for Eric Froehlich on the left of screen. Skurzdag Cultist, the Stitch Drake is not his, it's his Fiend Hunter, which has got rid of Paolo's Stitch Drake. And Kessig Wolf for Froehlich. Pitchburn Devils and a Moon Heron for Paolo Vita, Dama Da Rosa.
So just an interesting little, now no boo, there's a little Met symbol on the back of the backwards baseball cap, yay.
Yeah, absolutely, that's what we'd like to see.
Interesting little trick you can do with the cultist and a Fiend Hunter. If you have an active cultist in play,
okay,
you play Fiend Hunter.
Yep.
With the Fiend Hunters come into playability on the stack,
yep.
You can then fling it with the cultist at some creature, kill it. It's leave playability triggers. There's no creature to return, so that part fizzles away.
Yep.
And then the enters the battlefield trigger happens, and then you remove a creature. Oh, there's a Butcher's Cleaver.
Nice shiny foil Butcher's Cleaver.
Your favorite card.
Which has gone on the Moon Heron. The thing is, it isn't human.
Sure.
So it doesn't have lifelink.
Well, he's really, at this point, just looking to get Eric to sacrifice creature, sort of attrition his own board. Yeah. He's like, yeah, do you want to kill my Moon Heron? Go ahead.
You lose your Kessig Wolf. Or do you want to take 6? That's a lot.
Right. And also, because the Kessig Wolf is potentially first strike, it locks down the Pitchburn Devil. So he really wants him to sacrifice his Kessig Wolf here.
Yeah, 1 and a red.
He's not going to sacrifice his Fiend Hunter.
Oh, no. That really is desperate times. Paolo recently did a sort of end-of-year article with his kind of top 5 of assorted things, and of course someone asked, who are the best players in the world, and for him he said it's Luis. It's clearly Luis Scott Vargas.
So he did fling the Kessig Wolf, which now opens up the door for the Pitchburn Devils to attack.
Paolo, though, down to 1 card. Eric has 4. He has a checklist card. You can just see his thumb over at the bottom of his set of 4. Makes a little bit of room. Laser planes, and out comes Mr. Checklist for 1, 2, 3, 4.
Tormented Piranha. The utterly Midland tormented pride. He's like, why am I so mediocre?
Yeah, you kind of want it to do more than just be 3-2 and...
He's fine again.
Sitting
We
there.
talked about that. You know, I mean, he does his job.
And can turn into a rampaging werewolf as a 6-4.
Here comes a murder of crows.
And just like you said, there's the door open, so Paolo pushes through it with Pitchburn Devils.
Eric just has to take 3 here. Horrible things happen to him if he blocks.
Standard sealed event. We've got seating assignments up for you. Off to my right, on the authorized vendor little placard that's in the corner, back by Magic Stronghold and Fusion. Once again, standard sealed. Your seating assignments are up. Mike is over there, corner, waving the hand. Go find him.
Fiend Hunter, Skursdag Cultist, Tormented Pariah on the left, Murder of Crows, sideways Pitchburn Devils, Butcher's Cleaver on the right for the Brazilian.
Which is a 2-turn clock with the murder crows. 7-7.
So he equips 7-4.
Yeah.
So Eric is going to go all the way. Is this into the Maw of Hell? I believe it is. Get rid of a land. The land itself is probably not that costly for Paolo. Sometimes it can be. Doesn't look that big a deal there. But the Murder of Crows has bitten the dust, and that's the important bit on this occasion. And Eric is going to send the team. Well, Paolo's tapped out, so can do so with relative impunity.
Right. Going to go to 5 here.
Paolo will equip, send, 6 damage. Pitchburn Devils, well, the clue's in the name. It's a devil, not a human.
Ashmouth Hound.
2-1.
I really... That's a card that just... People didn't pay a ton of attention to the first couple weeks of the format.
And then they learned.
As it went on, it just creates all sorts of fits for people. In multiples, it's quite a good blocker.
So 14-5 in favour of Paolo.
One of those subtle things actually you see people miss a lot of times. Like you have 2 Ashmouth Hounds that are 2-2 attacking. Oh, okay. Put them both in front, kill it. Yeah. No loss.
You've played pretty much throughout the limited format this time around. How much better are players now than they were in week 2 of it being on Magic Online? Is it something that you could watch a bunch of early games and watch a bunch of now games and just go, yeah, you've clearly paid attention?
I mean, you certainly see the learning curve of as people find out what the good decks are, right? Like, there was a period of time where if you were on green-white or blue-white, as the case may be, depending, humans, like you were just winning far more than people who weren't playing that deck were.
Yes.
And then there was a period where if you were playing the green-blue mulch yourself decks, just mulch and Forbidden Alchemy and Spider Spawning and setting up this, the Runic Repetition, Memory's Journey Loop, and you're just wheeling the key cards of that deck around the table as you're taking other good cards first. Then
last pick, Gnaw to the Bone, and all that nonsense.
Yes. Oh, those were the days.
The well-known modern card, Gnaw to the Bone.
Yes. And so that's, as long as you're constant, people seem to catch up to the decks. I mean, the play skill of Magic Online is always generally the same, right? It's generally the same aggregate play skill of, whatever format you're playing in, whether it's Swiss Qs, 4-3-2-2s, or 8-4s. But it's like, what decks are people fighting for?
So the 2 players locked in thought, both doing various impressions of Conley Woods.
Wood bowing.
Paolo counting up. Just to let you know, Yuya Watanabe is not here, but Shuhei Nakamura obviously
is. He's worried they're going to take away his Hall of Fame ring. He's like, I got to keep playing, right? Yeah. He's like, no, you actually get to stay home for once. No. And he just loves playing so much.
Okay. So the Butcher's Cleaver is going to move across
Splits
onto the
his
Ashman
damage.
Hound.
Check back again. Sometimes stuff wanders in late. Like,
Just attacks the Ashmouth Hound.
Attacks like that. Let's just check that. Does it work for hounds? Don't think it does.
5-1. Just wants to get a creature for it.
you can blame her. I asked her tomorrow. I see it.
Sealed has been interesting to watch for me this season. Just going to various limited GPs. As it's just, people just traditionally, we talked about this, think about the formats as being, black, red, controlled, Grixis-y colors.
Yep.
And then there was this real wave of like super aggressive decks. Right? This wave of like, the Doom Traveler, Chapel guys, etc.
Yep.
And then I haven't. I mean, maybe we just haven't seen what the XO decks are going to look like yet. We're only 2 rounds in, but we actually haven't really seen that white green, aggressive build. It's a Stitcher's Apprentice coming down for Paula, which means he can get Eric to 2 at will with his Pitchburn Devils. Ooh, there's a
Known in the
Rage
trade
Thrower.
as a sack outlet.
There's a Rage Thrower.
So when pretty much anything dies, that's 2 damage. Paolo's heading towards single figures.
So he played a Rage Thrower this last turn. Through the
Fiend Hunter's
through the
gone.
Fiend Hunter at the Stitcher's Apprentice,
Stitch Drake is back.
and did a fair amount of damage. There's an Elder Cathar. Backs up. It's game. Well, did not see Eric winning that, but the Rage Thrower just made the math impossible for Paulo to stay alive.
Yeah, Rage Thrower is one of those cards that at first glance, because it costs 6 and it's only a 4/2.
Yeah, that's
you
a card
think,
that's gone up tremendously.
It feels
high.
like it feels like it's very expensive, but once you start playing with it, it's like, oh dear, that really does mess
Well,
with me in a big way.
It's just a fireball. It's just like a suspend fireball.
It's just, I like that, just like a suspend fireball. So Froelich there, who makes his home in Las Vegas, where much of his working life centers. Now, Paolo, I
Are we
believe...
not allowed to say that he won our World Series of Poker bracelet?
Probably.
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't say that.
Okay. Now, Paolo, who, as far as I know, has never won a World Series of Poker bracelet like Dave Williams has, for example, or Eric Froelich has, Paolo, I believe, is living with Luis Scott Vargas for a couple of months. He's his
talked
break.
About, yeah,
right?
he talked about wanting to do that before the OP changes and was a little worried about whether or not he'd be able to do it until
The changes to the OP changes.
Until he heard what the benefit to doing well was, right? He's like, well, what is going to happen for the 2013 season? What am I? And so, if you're wondering how the pros feel about the new OP changes, the newest OP changes, then you just have to look at the fact that Paulo has decided to live in the United States for a couple months and go to every Grand Prix he can possibly get to. So I think that's a big thumbs up from Paulo.
You see, on the screen there, apart from the words "in the booth," wouldn't that be awesome? That'd just be great. You on that side, me on that side, round 4 of a GP.
We didn't play yesterday, right? We were on the same team?
We were on the same
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
And we won.
Yeah.
I think we did fine. You got the Liliana foil
Yeah.
Liliana of the Vale. I got both Gavany Townships, so I was perfectly happy with that. Marshall really did annihilate me, though. It wasn't even funny. It wasn't like I said he played Blasphemous Act, which he did.
Right.
But he outplayed me from approximately turn 0 in both games.
Yeah.
It's,
He's very good. It's
Well,
interesting.
yeah.
He-
I went away wondering how I'd lost because it was, it wasn't things like, yes, well, this kills your 2 guys, or here's my 5/5 flyer that I can't do it. It was just, oh, well, I've done 4 or 5 perfectly reasonable things, and I've down to 1 card, and you've
So-
got 5, and
so
I'm
what-
still trying to deal with what you've got on the
So it's
table.
interesting. One of the things Marshall was talking about during the intervening interview between the rounds
Yeah.
was I said we were talking about sequencing, and he was talking about how he does these draft videos, and he said Simon Gertchen noticed some misplays in his video,
Okay.
and was like, "Would you like me to talk to you about them?" And so they talked about them, and then he realized that what he was not doing was scripting out his plays and realizing what trades he was willing to make and wasn't going to make, and what the implications of those things were. So, you're talking about someone who's going in and playing. Oh, there's the Reckless Waif again for Apollo.
This time on the
So he chose to draw.
Yeah. Eric has no turn 2 play, so we have the Merciless Predator back in business.
Remaining open for business.
Smash.
He's like, ooh, rebuke? No. Bell ringer? No. Okay. Sounds like a Henweir watch keep joining the party. Nope. South Occultist. One of my favorite cards. I love the flexibility of that card so much.
The fact that you can do it to yourself,
Yeah,
or
just
try
like
and randomly get rid of
sometimes
stuff from them.
Yeah, sometimes it just gives you this inevitable position in terms of, what your opponent can attack with both. Trade for the Predator. So 2 mill triggers for Apollo, who flips past a mountain in a brimstone volley.
That's a bit disappointing.
Sure.
Yeah, I really want to get rid of a volley if I can help it. But Stitch Drake now in play.
And Eric's down to 14 very quickly.
I'm looking at a lot of damage on the other side already. 5th land. Five cards in hand for Frolic.
Bonds of Faith on the non-human.
The Stitch Drake. Yes.
It's Alpha Cultist. Feels like he should be sort of zombie-ish or something, but
Yes.
he's quite human. It's a Battleground Geist. Or Battlefield Geist.
Battleground. Either way, it's a 3/3 flyer. It gives other spirits +1/+0.
There's another Bonds of Faith. I was going to say Bash for 2, but that seemed a bit strong. And there's the Henry Watchkeep that you see what cards Paulo decided he would rather play than the Henry Watchkeep, which he could have also played on turn 3.
Yep. So right now that's a 1/5 defender, but Bane of Hanweir, 5/5,
Must attack every turn.
it must indeed.
Gallows Warden from...
Oh no.
What?
Oh no, my 5/5 must attack.
Yeah.
Oh woe is me.
Got Gallows Warden on Eric Froehlich's side of the board.
The other half of the,
Yeah.
of the battleground guys.
Sealed. Zach De La Rosa.
Taps 5 mana.
Is this pitch burn? No. I was thinking about it. It certainly has a pitch burn levels, and that is what comes down.
Eric's at 8. Can he stabilize here? Plays Rage Thrower.
a little better for him, but Paolo still has cards in hand to make a difference.
Sounds like Falconwrath Marauders. I'm sure these guys, interestingly, I'm sure these guys have played about 1 million games against each other already.
Sure.
Just like the Channel Fireball guys all get together, test out their decks, talk about what they could have done differently, have Ben Stark give them an analysis of how they built their decks incorrectly, and what they should sideboard into.
Yeah,
Instead, so he keeps the Falconwrath Marauders back and attacks with just the Pitchburn Devils.
obviously people at home, they love to play constructed, and Conley Woods therefore gets a lot of play as the, you know, the, if you like, the mad deck building genius within that crew, if you like. But Ben Stark is the limited engine in the background of Channel Fireball.
And so Eric goes down to 5. He does not block the Pitchburn Devils.
We have the Bane of Hanway now. The Watchkeep no more. Rage Thrower, Gallows Warden facing Bane of Hanway, Self Occultist, Pitchburn Devils. Eric looking at the board. But with Pitchburn Devils there and 5, as you say, virtual 2.
Blasphemous Act would be pretty sweet right here for Eric.
Yes.
He can attack for 3, he can drop Paulo to 3.
Then just accidentally start again. One would imagine Eric doesn't have Blasphemous Act right about now.
It seems unlikely. He's thinking, how do I not die? He's going to deal with that 5/5. He's going to deal with the Pitchburn Devils, which is going to drop him to 2.
Someone very famous just wandering by.
Rookie of the Year, Matthias Hudd, peered around to get a look at the monitor, see what was going on in the feature match area. All right, Eric says go.
So, Paolo says, all right, let's attack with the 5/5 because I must, the 3/3 because if it dies, you're in trouble. Wait. He's actually done quite a lot of that this game. Tap land, untap, attack, unattack.
There you go. Like the guys that give me the better.
So the Gallows one looks like it's getting in the way of Bane. We're going to see Moment of Heroism, +2/+2, and Lifelink.
So take 3, gain 5, go up to 7. Our fortress is falling apart. Apollo takes 4 from the Rage Thrower. And there's a Moon Heron.
Just a Rage Thrower for fun right now.
It's interesting to watch just how Paulo is just saying, I don't know what he's got, but I'm not committing this Falconwrath Nobles. I don't need to play it yet. Mm-hmm. Oh, and there's a Blasphemous Act.
That's unreal.
Blasphemous Act, but it looks like
1, 2, 3, 4. 6 things are going to die.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
5 on Paladin.
Yep. Now, Paulo does, I think, has Harvest Pyre. You can kill the Rage Thrower in response and only take 2.
he's going to put everything in the bin. Pitchburn Devils.
Does 3 to you. You go to 4.
It'll be 4 all, won't it?
He mills himself.
It's
We
like
don't
a
see
guy's
anything with-
catcher's rig went by.
Ashmouth Hounds. And does Eric have a follow-up to the Blasphemous Act? Get a good
That's
look
one
at the
of
graveyard.
I mean, that's one of the most absurd things about Blasphemous Act is that it's such a mighty thing, and yet you can always generally do something else the turn you cast it.
Right,
You
right.
clear the board, and now here's the beginning of the next phase of the game. But not this time.
Yeah, passes the turn. And so now this is the Falcon Wrath Mortars that Paulo had just held on to.
Yep. There it is. So
Attack for
flying
2.
and haste.
Becomes a 4/4 after combat.
So Eric once again needs answers. He wiped the board, but now he needs to do it again.
And I have to wonder. I mean, Eric has to have known. I mean, Paulo has to have known about the Blasphemous Act.
Presumably they were sitting and
Right.
playing
Yeah.
with it during
Yeah.
the buys. So Paolo pulls that out despite the Wrath of God.
And then I guess the reason he would hold back the Harvest Pyre there is even though he knows he's going to 6, but he knows Eric's gassed. So even if Eric plays a blocker or plays some answer to his Falcon Wrath Marauders, some kind of, he can deal with that instead. He'd rather deal with that board.
And so
then-
many things are going into his graveyard. He's bound to be able to, get enough out of the Harvest
Yeah.
Pyre. Pretty much whatever Eric puts down.
See the players looking through their sideboards.
It's quite an interesting psychological thing there as well, because he's going to take 12 as it stands, or 2.
Right.
So who doesn't want to just take 2
That's
rather
right.
than
Yeah,
12?
that's my point.
And it's not even just
that was
12.
just
it's-
my reflexes. I just want to take 2.
No, I do that. But also, it's not even just 12 damage. It's 12 damage that puts you down to 4. So you're right on the verge of gone.
Well, I think it took him to 6.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I think it took him.
Was it 16? 16 and then takes 12, put a 4, I think.
Maybe.
Maybe, but to think beyond the, oh my god, that's enormous and everything's going to die and I'm going to take 12. And I could just take 2. And then go, yeah, but that's fine, I don't need to do that.
Right.
Yeah, great stuff.
See newly minted Hall of Famer Shuhei Nakamura walking by.
Not in a kimono on this case.
No.
Another benefit of the reinstatement of the professional points is that when it comes to Hall of Fame, we're going to have that metric to evaluate players again, because 100 pro point was such a vast deal.
Actually, I mean, just keep in mind, Raphael Levy is on 484 points, I believe.
That's right. He was 476 going into Worlds.
So he's on 484 points. Like, he got across the 500 lifetime pro point mark. I mean, that's just the kind of thing we want to celebrate, right? That's something that is super exciting. To
Become
me.
the all-time leader.
Yes, the all-time leader being Kai Bude, who has 500 lifetime points.
Yep.
500 pro points. That's so crazy. Like, they don't give those out in very large increments. It's not like there's some end-of-year 100-point bonus that you get, right? Like, the most you can get is 25 points.
It's like playing unsuccessfully in every Pro Tour for 65 years. So we're gearing up for Game 3 between these two extremely good Magic players. Eric Froehlich on the left, Paolo Vita, DAMO Da Rosa on the right.
Where is Eric Froehlich in the current end-of-year? Yeah, this seeding for next year.
He has 10 points currently. So he has some work to do if he wants to get one of the higher levels once May 13th comes around.
Pair of Ashmouth Hounds. Desperate Ravings from Paulo.
So that will go into his graveyard to do more good things later. Flashback for 2 and a blue. Now we're going to see a little bit of dice rolling action to determine what randomly gets sent away.
And they elect instead. Oh, there goes the Falconwrath Nobles.
Yeah.
There goes our Fortress Wall again.
But Lindsay caught it.
Yeah.
It was a Fortress grab.
Crap. Both players play land, say go.
See a Stitch Drake in Paolo's hand on the right. No way currently to cast it. Which is again why he's quite happy to send in on one of those occasions where they trade without actually dealing damage to each other in the combat damage step. They're just like, oh, I do you one because I blocked and you get one back.
So we see Reckless Wave and Mind Trigger.
I love that card. Not even in terms of how good it is, but just when you play against it and they've got 6 mana and they're trying to kill you and you're thinking, miss, you know, miss, oh, nearly enough, not quite, please. I love cards like that. Just inherent drama every turn from a card. Tormented Pariah from Eric. Mind Shrieker will
5 for 1.
Oh yeah. 5 for 1, Soul of the Cultist. Gallows Warden comes back, 3/3.
I mean, we've basically seen one bond, right, between these two players.
The Blasphemous Act.
The Blasphemous Act. And it's basically, I mean, they're just playing, like, kind of cards.
And that's, of course, what the pros love about the format.
Yeah.
Because with the possible exception of Invisible Stalker, which I know that Owen Turtonwild, for one, would bury in a fire very happily. There aren't that many cards in the format that just stop you playing Magic and just go, oh, look, I've lost.
You know, people are just playing, like, you know, 4 mana creatures and 5 mana flyers and, you know, 1 drops, and like, we've just seen stuff at every stop along the curve. You know, and at the higher level, you see it becomes very, very tactical. Speaking of Player of the Year, Owen Turtonwild, I just saw him walk by.
I would say, could you tell whether he won or not? But you probably can't, because you can never really tell whether.
Correct. I actually couldn't tell anything.
No.
Probably be different. I just thought it was fun. Yeah, it is.
So, Stitch Drake came down from Paula. And there's the Rage Thrower. You've seen it time and time again from Eric.
Stitched Drake.
So now you just have to be very mindful of. You really do have to be very mindful of that Blasphemous Act. I mean, it's just right now it deals 14 damage.
But in a sense, I mean, yes, you have to be mindful of it, but what can you do? And you're in a situation where there's already 3 on the other side.
Well, for example, you can have a Harvest Pyre ready.
Sure.
You can keep your removal spell ready.
Sure.
Pitchburn
Devils.
That's been my experience so far in the last 20 minutes.
Blasphemous Act now deals
Remember,
16
competitors,
damage.
when you're done with your match, sign and verify the slip with your opponent, and then just hand it to the nearest judge. Please don't call the judge over to pick up your slip. Just hand it to the nearest judge you see. Thanks.
Now, is this the kind of scenario where if you're Paolo and you have a Dissipate on your sideboard, that is this the scenario where you bring it in for a card like Blasphemous Act?
I would be surprised if Paulo had a card like Dissipate or Lost in this that he wouldn't play it.
Okay, just straight up play.
Yeah, in a sealed format, sure. You know your opponents are going to have bombs. Like, it's not like you're like going to be surprised that your opponents have bombs and then you bring them in.
Bonds of Faith for the Stitch Drake. We know
Speaking
that
of their opponent having bonds,
bombs and bonds. Paolo 3 cards.
so Fiend Hunter's on a Mind Shrieker, Bonds of Faith is on a Stitch Drake, and the Gallows Warden is running free.
Yep.
Tentatively entering his attack step with his Pitchburn Devils. To say Fiend Hunter and Blasphemous Act is something of a nombo.
Yes. The Devils do go in. And Eric's going to take that. The two players will reach for their life totals.
Connolly Woods, please come to the registration desk. Connolly Woods.
There's an announcement there for Connie Woods to come to the registration desk, so maybe he's about to play in a little sealed event somewhere.
Paul's clearly thinking about that Blasphemous Act,
Yeah.
Rage Thrower combo. I believe he's looking at Harvest Pyre. Or it could be an Ashmouth Hound. They
Yeah.
look a little similar.
They look a lot similar. I think it is a Harvest Pie. I think the flame is just slightly to the right of the
Yes,
card,
yes,
which
yes.
suggests that it's a Harvest Pie. In fact, that's actually one of the noticeable features of the red cards in Innistrad. They are extremely fiery.
Yes.
When you actually line them all up, there's Ancient Grudge has got fire all the way through it. Ashmouth Hound has Burning Vengeance, Brimstone Volley. On you go, Devil's Play. Obviously, you'd expect Guy's Flame, Harvest Pyre. It's an extremely fiery collection.
He's just going to Harvest Pyre. He's
The Rage Thrower.
losing his Desperate Ravens in the process.
Because it's not about creatures out of the graveyard, it's just cards that you have to exile. So Paolo now avoids the combo.
And look, there's a Lost in the Mist. You get milled, not exactly the...
Butcher's Cleaver for Eric,
Puts it on the human Tormented Pariah.
shockingly. And sends it in.
Gains 6 life.
Selhoff Cultist looking.
And it's basically like he gets
great.
to restart the game at 19.
Yep. Which at the moment isn't that big of a deal.
Frightful
Because
Delusion from Paulo.
not a fan?
No. I mean, I will reevaluate it seeing Paulo play it, obviously. But no, not a huge fan.
Okay. Maybe we should have him in and ask him about it.
Sure. Murder of Crows comes down for Apollo. It gets Bonds of Faith, I believe, below the bar. And a 6 power Gallows Warden attacks Apollo down to 8 Abyssinian Priest. Added to the mix. Really have to love the way, really love how Eric's deck is just, red-white, very controlling, just, little bit of, aggression. He's got some good creatures, but really it's just like, it's not an aggro deck, it's not quite a control deck, it's just like good cards.
What's the report card on Abyssinian Priest in terms of, at the start of the format, everyone's going, does that non-human matter? Is it a big deal? Is it always going to get used? Are you going to find it dead against some decks? How's that kind of works?
I think people have, it's the problem, the evaluation that's always been tricky with it is that it comes in the same, seems to come side by side with Bonds of Faith all the time.
Okay.
So it's so hard to, which one do you want? Which do you want?
You open up Bonds of Faith. I always feel that people are going to kill my creatures where they're going to struggle to kill my enchantments.
Sure.
Broadly.
And you're going to be playing humans.
Yeah. For the random +2/+2 excitement. So Gallows Warden has now got the Butcher's Cleaver on it. Abyssinian Priest, Fiend Hunter, taking out that Mind Trigger, which seems a long time ago now, but is still this game. The Decider. Paolo is sending the Pitchburn Devils once again. Reckless Wave has been back forever.
There's a Moon Heron.
I really like clean cards like that. There's plenty of flavor text, but all you really need to worry about is it's a 3/2 flyer for 4 in blue.
And the 3 is what makes the card very interesting.
Sure.
It just trades up the curve, against the pain in the neck 5 cast class flyers.
Yeah. Your battleground guys, 10-year Gallows
Warden. Not the Murder of Crows and the Angel of
Flight Alabaster.
Angel of Flight Alabaster.
That is a mouthful, that card.
Yeah. So tap the Moon Heron. Attack.
Paolo puts his Reckless Waif in the way.
Mills himself. Draws a card and... Oh, he doesn't mill himself. Sorry. Draw a card, discard a card. He's at 2. So does he have a comeback in him like Eric had in game 1? Pitchburn Devils gets in for 3. Eric's on 16. There is a Battleground Geist. Move the Cleaver over to the Fiend Hunter.
Because it's human again.
Tap. Yep.
And in we go. Eric Froehlich is your winner. By 2-1.
You see Eric Froehlich just... Yeah, I won. Apollo, Vito Domino.